Hi, thanks for taking the time to view this quick video that will help you in your current situation. My name is Voltaire Lepe, and I am a Foreclosure Alternatives consultant. I've consulted and helped hundreds of families avoid foreclosure over the past few years. My services are free of charge and obligate you to nothing. Also note that 80% of the people that I consult with actually end up getting help from someone else other than me. This means that after reviewing their specific situation, I pinpoint the best option for them and refer them to a specialist that can make their situation better. Again, my services are free of charge and obligate you to nothing. I want to quickly review what you'll learn in this video. First, you'll learn the foreclosure timeline in California. Secondly, you'll learn several popular options that homeowners choose when in foreclosure. Lastly, you will hear from real people that I've worked with and I've helped in the past. After viewing this video, you can feel free to contact my office to arrange a free consultation where we can go over your specific situation, since not everyone has the same circumstances. Thanks again, and to arrange a free and completely private consultation, please call me at 619-300-9675. You can also request to join our free monthly webinar to get your questions answered. Also, if you like reading, you can order a free copy of my book, which details all the foreclosure alternatives and how to avoid foreclosure, by calling my office at 619-300-9675. Now let's talk about the California foreclosure timeline. Most lenders begin the foreclosure process within a few months after the first mortgage payment is missed by the homeowner. They usually begin sending letters advising the homeowner of the different ways they can avoid foreclosure. After that, they begin the formal foreclosure process. The first step for the lender is to file something called a notice of default against the property. This notice gives the homeowner 3 months to bring their loan current. Within 3 months, if no agreement to stop the foreclosure has been made by the lender and the homeowner, or if the loan hasn't been reinstated by the homeowner, then the lender has a right to file the next notice. The second notice that they could file is called the notice of trustee sale. With this notice, the lender sets a specific date that they will sell the property at public auction. Basically, they set the foreclosure sales date. This date can be as early as 21 days from the date that the notice is filed. The homeowner has the right to pay off the entire balance in order to prevent the foreclosure and stay in their home. Here's a quick example. If the lender filed the notice of default on January 1st, and if the homeowner didn't bring their payments current, then 3 months later, on April 1st, the lender can file the next notice, which is called the notice of trustee sale. The earliest that they can set the foreclosure sales date is April 22nd, which is 21 days after that notice is filed. Now that you got a good idea of how soon a foreclosure can actually happen, there are probably a lot of questions that you may have, such as, how soon does my property need to be vacant? Or will the sheriff come out one day and kick me and my family out of my home? Or, will I owe the bank any money if they foreclose on me? And probably many other questions that you probably have. Those questions I can answer when you attend my foreclosure avoidance webinar online for free, or you call me at 619-300-9675. Next, let me run down some options that homeowners have chosen in the past. For the sake of keeping this video short, I won't go into detail on each one, but again, you can get the full scoop on any one of these options by attending my free webinar, or booking a free meeting with me, or you could even order my free book, which describes all of your options in detail. Okay, so option 1, loan modification. You could try for loan modification, and remember, there are several types of loan modifications, not just one. Option 2, short sale or traditional sale. You can always sell your property in order to avoid foreclosure. Option 3, bankruptcy. This is something that you do with an attorney, and in order to figure out whether you qualify for bankruptcy or if it's in your best interest, we'll go over that when we meet each other. Option 4, litigation. Okay, you could always try to sue the bank and file litigation in order to get a modification or avoid foreclosure. Option 5, deed in lieu of foreclosure. And option 6, a foreclosure. There's pros and cons to each one, so please call me so we can discuss that. Now that you have a good idea of how the foreclosure process works and some possible alternatives, please listen to what some people have to say that were once in your shoes and decided to contact me. And remember, you can reach me 7 days a week at 619-300-9675. Or you can visit me at www.myforeclosureoption.com. Thank you.
I heard about Voltaire through a mutual friend and family members.
I first heard about Voltaire through a mutual friend many years ago, probably about 8 years ago.
And I knew my house was in foreclosure, and he said in his letter that he could help us. So we made an appointment, went and saw him.
Voltaire was a good friend of my daughter's.
Voltaire had sent us a letter.
We heard about Voltaire through a mailer that we received in the mail, and it was pretty interesting because my sister had actually gone to school with him and she recognized him, so that's why we gave him a call.
We met Voltaire through the letter that he sent, and I decided to give him a call because the letter that he sent was different from the rest. It was in a pink envelope and it was handwritten.
So I wanted to sell my house, but because everyone around me was foreclosing on their home, I wasn't able to sell the house for the price.
The company that we had was a construction company, and we had allowed them to use that property for a loan, as a security for a loan. And then the company went broke, and we were left hanging with this big loan and having to make these big payments each month.
When we were at the house, our income actually dropped. My mom unfortunately lost her job, and other sources of income were gone. So even though we were able to make payments in the beginning, it just got really, really hard until the point that we just couldn't keep up anymore.
When my wife couldn't work anymore at school because of the way she walks, she has a walking disability where she falls a lot. When her income quit coming in, the payments started getting behind. I couldn't make the payments, so we started trying to get ourselves out of the situation by trying to find someone that could help us.
Voltaire helped us with 2 properties, actually. The first one was a rental property. At the time, we were paying about $1,600 of what the renters were actually paying us. And back then we still didn't know there was a way out of it, and we were losing money for a few years actually. And the second property was where we actually lived. Back in 2009, there was actually a fire in our business, and by the time we waited for everything to settle in the business, and we were shut down and out of business for over a month, we got extremely behind on our payments, and ever since that month we were never able to fully catch up.
With the property that Voltaire helped us on was an actual rental property where the renters were paying the mortgage that they were receiving through the mail. We found out that they were 5 to 6 months in default before we had actually decided to short sell.
So short sale seemed to be the way to go for me.
And we thought, well, the best thing to do is sell it if we can, and at least get rid of the payments and the annoyance. Really.
We were applying for loan modification, but we were not approved, and the payment was already high, so we can't afford it anymore because my husband is the only one working that time. So we decided to have the house be on short sale.
Prior to meeting with Voltaire, I actually tried to call to have a modification from, this is for the house where we lived. And the banks, even though I explained them the situation that we had a fire and I explained everything, they were not able to work with us. So we just wasted time. Nobody was able to help us.
We had tried calling the banks to see if there was a way that we can either refinance the loans or maybe make partial payments.
I tried to do a loan modification, but I didn't qualify because I was up to par with my payments. So I fell behind my payments thinking I would get the loan modification, and I was disqualified because of my gross income.
Yeah, we did a loan modification, but the payment was still the same as the heights. So it's not helping us anymore. So we thought that it's not helping us anymore. So we decided to go on short sale.
We tried the president's deal. They said we made too much. Our loan company at the time said we didn't make enough, and things just kept dragging on. And pretty soon we were where we had to lose the house.
The initial consultation with Voltaire was basically more personal. I never had a face-to-face conference or consultation with my first real estate agents. They seemed reputable on TV because of commercials, but Voltaire was there from day one when I could ask any kind of question, and always willing to meet with me night or day.
The consultation was probably around 2-3 hours, and that's because Voltaire was there making sure we understood everything. So he didn't leave until he answered all of our questions and concerns, every single one of our questions.
Our initial consultation with him was not very long. He just wanted all the paperwork, and we had everything in order for him, and how much he owed and to whom, and he contacted the loan company that was exploiting us, I felt.
Yeah.
And he took care of that. He took care of the sale and the transfer of the money to them.
The first time that we met Voltaire, during that consultation, I believe we spent about 2 hours with him. He really went through all the options that we had available, including a short sale or possibly modifying the loan. By then, we just wanted to go ahead and go with the short sale, and he was able to explain everything in detail, both in English and Spanish. And he really helped us get a hold of how everything was going to happen. Before meeting with Voltaire, we really weren't certain about what was going to happen because we had tried to contact the bank, but they weren't being really helpful. But after we met with him, we felt really confident with our situation because we knew exactly what was going to happen and when and how the process was going to take place.
Our initial consultation was probably about an hour. He came to our home. He explained to us the process of foreclosure, the processes that would happen with possibly refinancing if they would allow us to. And then he gave us the last option, which was the short sale.
Because when I called him that day, he gave us already an appointment to meet the following day, and then he went to our house, and then he gave us all the options, and the rest is history.
Came by and he talked to my husband and I, and he gave us all our options and what we can do, and I've always been in good standing, so I didn't want a foreclosure, so he recommended a short sale.
And he explained each option one by one to us, and when we decided to go with the short sale, I asked him if he was in my shoes, what would he do, because it is all new to me. I've never been in that situation, and he told me the best way for me to do, if in his opinion, was a short sale. So we agreed on a short sale. I felt very confident.
And, he came by immediately, and he just took care of our problem. I mean, the best he could, because we were in pretty bad shape.
Before talking to Voltaire, we had tried to talk to the bank. They had us submit a bunch of paperwork, but they never really assigned us anybody to work with. So it's kind of just working with the bank on an anonymous base. So we had tried working with people in the past, but it didn't really work out.
My first agents were no communication at all, no kind of personal effects to the hardship that we were going through. As far as Voltaire, he was there and made me feel more secure with what was going on with the whole financial situation.
I worked with several other companies. None of them ever did anything except take my money. They were good at taking my money. We got a lawyer out of Pasadena. Half the time the people never showed up in court. Me and the wife would show up to court to a trustee thing. They weren't there, so they kept postponing it. And finally got to the point that we had no other alternative but to file bankruptcy or something, so we went to see Voltaire about the short sale.
We had actually worked with a couple different agents who made it seem like the process would be very easy, but in the end they just ended up wasting our time. And back then, every day that passed was a lot of money that we ended up losing because we went with someone else.
Before we met with Voltaire, we were afraid to answer the door. We were afraid to answer our telephones. Every time we received a phone call, it was a threat that the bank was going to send the police to throw us out of our house. After we met with Voltaire, we didn't have that fear anymore. We were very comfortable that the house was going to sell, or we would be able to refinance one way or another. He gave us a lot of confidence in him, not just by his personality, but just by his knowledge of the real estate market. He made us very comfortable with the whole process.
After meeting with Voltaire in my first consultation, it made me feel more secure, even though I knew I was going to have to short sell and leave my home. I felt confident that everything was going to be okay. I was really nervous, scared financially. What was this going to do to me in the future? But he assured me whatever happens, happens, and we will be able to get back on track somehow, some way. Whether it was just getting the short sale done, whether it was just moving on and trying to see what our next options were, which the first real estate agents never, like I said, never had a conversation with me face to face or give me any kind of options and give me a light of hope, basically, which Voltaire did.
From the first time that we met Voltaire, it's like having a friend who could help us, really, not only professional, but like a friend to us. He would tell us that he could help us, and we should be thankful that he could do something about it. So
Yeah, it was really easy to get a hold of Voltaire. We would either call him or email him or even text him. It was really simple to get a hold of him.
He was keeping me in touch of everything and every step that the bank was going through.
Every time we had a question or we were wondering what the banks had said or anything, Voltaire would get back to us within probably the same hour, and it didn't matter what time or what day or if it was the weekend, he would always get back to us on time.
During the whole process, Voltaire is very easy to get a hold of. If I called him, I would leave a message and he would call me back within 10 or 15 minutes. If he couldn't call me back right away, he would text me to let me know that he would be calling me within a certain amount of time, or, getting back to me the following day, telling me what his situation was.
We liked Voltaire because he wasn't pushy or loud or trying to oversell us, and our experience was good. I mean, it sounds like I'm selling Voltaire, but that's not it. That we just liked him, like his ways. He would call us just about every day, and he was concerned most of course about the property, but he was personally concerned. We got along real well.
he was so professional, and not only that, he became like a good friend to us. Until now, I could call him anytime.
he worked with me. It's kind of hard because I'm a full-time worker. He worked with me in my scheduling and helping meeting me and with the